Hello team, welcome back to my channel. It's October, right? That means spooky season. About 2 weeks. So I thought that I was gonna do this at the beginning of the month. Have this whole month to be spooky. But then life got in the way, you know what I mean? Here's a late list of spooky books to read, you know? Oh, is that mine? Look, I've got the peanuts on my shirt and they're trick-or-treating. Isn't that fun? Even Franklin's on this shirt. Finally some visibility. Let's jump right in. Don't laugh at me. I'm gonna put the camera on you.
No!
I'm gonna do it.
God, no! Oh my god! Oh, I just tried to do some work! That was like exponentially violent.
Who's laughing now?
That was like really crazy.
Who's laughing now? The first book on my list is The Taking of Jake Livingston, and this is by Ryan Douglas. So this book surrounds this guy Jake, who's I think he's a junior in high school, and basically it's like the Sixth Sense in a way. Like he can see ghosts. He can see ghosts, and there's like a vengeful spirit that comes back. You're lying. The vengeful ghost of like a school shooter comes back and basically decides to use Jake as a pawn in his evil undead schemes. Because, yeah, I don't know. The book is pretty interesting. I'm not done with it yet, but I've read enough of it where I know that it's definitely a social commentary because Jake is a black student and he also is in like a predominantly white school. And then Sawyer is a white guy. Also takes place in Atlanta. I'm familiar. So that's fun. The next book is Eileen by Ottessa Moshfegh. So this book surrounds someone named Eileen. Let me just read Goodreads instead of me rambling. So it says, consumed by resentment and self-loathing, Eileen tempers her Eileen tempers her dreary days with perverse fantasies and dreams of escaping into the big city. In the meantime, she fills her nights and weekends with shoplifting, stalking a buff prison guard named Randy, and cleaning up her increasingly deranged father's messes. When the bright, beautiful, and cheery Rebecca St. John arrives on the scene as the new counselor at the prison, Eileen is enchanted and proves unable to resist what appears to be a miraculously budding friendship. But her affection for Rebecca ultimately pulls her into complicity into a crime that surpasses her wildest imaginings. I picked this as a Halloween book because Eileen, it's very like unnerving per se, just very interesting. I don't know if you've read Ottessa Moshfegh, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Like it's kind of suspenseful without being like horror, if that makes sense. Like it's thrilling, you know, it's thrilling and it's unnerving. Very spooky. Next book is Rebecca, and this is by Daphne du Maurier. The protagonist in Rebecca is never named, but she marries this guy who's like very, very rich, and she goes to his estate, I suppose. It's not the genre of like the house is alive, I'm gonna eat you, but it's like, I don't know, an unsafe environment, I suppose, kind of like Coraline in a way. We'll talk about that later. But there is like the woman who's the head of the house, and the memory of his dead wife, Rebecca, is forever kept alive by the forbidding housekeeper, Mrs. Danvers. So basically, this guy had a wife, she died, and then it's Rebecca. And the housekeeper is just very, very weird to the heroine, to the main character. It's kind of like Haunting of Bly Manor, kind of, except there's not ghosts. Next book is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and this is by Grady Hendrix. And so this is about, I think she's like a soccer mom kind of thing, and she lives like a very droll life, and then this guy comes to town, and at that same time children start to go missing in the town, and so she's like, what's going on, you know? And it says, Patricia wonders if he's connected. Is he a Brad Pitt, a Bundy, or something much worse? And so I only picked this up, I haven't read it yet, but I only picked this up because people who I really like this book, and I was looking through Goodreads, and all of them were like, oh, this was so amazing, like it was such a surprising read, like it was so surprising that it was good, and I like books like that. Next book is Dracula by Bram Stoker. I think this isn't very surprising to be on this list. So you know, Dracula is like the original vampire story, I think I can say. Is that true? I don't know. But it's about this guy named Jonathan. It's all through a series of journals. So it's Jonathan's journal and then also his fiance wife Mina. And so Jonathan goes, he's a salesman, and he goes to Transylvania to, you know, sell to Dracula, whatever. Count Dracula, and no one really knows that he's a vampire yet. And then, so Jonathan goes and is basically taken prisoner, and then Mina, his wife back home, is like, I'm kind of concerned for him, and because he hasn't come home. And then, you know, shenanigans ensue. There's Lucy, who's Mina's best friend, I think. Some people are turned into vampires, but we don't know they're vampires. And yeah, it's a good story. I read it last year and I didn't really know what I was getting into. I didn't know what the original vampire story was. I wanted to read the vampire story that has shaped the future of, or like the present of what we read as vampires now. A lot of Catholicism in it though, not gonna lie. Next book is Mexican Gothic, and this is by Silvia Moreno Garcia. So this book is about a woman named Noemi who's in Mexico, and she gets a very frantic letter from her cousin basically saying that she's in danger in this house with her new husband. She goes to the house, Noemi goes to the house, and basically everyone's weird. The whole family, the aunt is weird, the cousins are weird, and there's like this patriarch who's like dying upstairs, whatever. This is kind of the book where the house drives crazy and the house is alive, and Noemi basically is not only battling the family but the house, and I think it's such a good book. I recommend this in all genres, but I think it's a really good Halloween book. I read it around Halloween last year, and I don't read from Hispanic authors as much as I should, so I really like this book and I would recommend it. And the plot, it's not really a plot twist, but when you figure out what's going on, I was like, okay. Next one is I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and this is by Ian Reid. So I listened to this as an audiobook, and that's the way that I would recommend it. So it's about this woman who goes home with her boyfriend Jake for the first time to meet his family, and nothing is what it seems. Everything is very strange. And when I was listening to it, it felt like someone was like behind me the whole time. Like I was sitting in my room, but I'd be like, it's just that kind of really well-written imagery where it feels very surreal. And again, it's the type of horror where it's not body gore, except I think there might be a little bit of that, but it's just so well written that it feels like you're in it. And this plot twist, I actually wasn't expecting the whole time. Last one, I had to put this on the list, is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Now, I read that Neil Gaiman actually didn't intend this to be a children's book. It's not written for kids. Girl, Coraline, who moves, and they move into this place, and she discovers this, you know, plot hole, this loophole to this different dimension with her other mother, who is not at all how she appears to be, and crazy stuff happens, insane stuff happens. But I love this book, and the movie is my like all-time comfort movie. I've already watched it twice in October, and I'm gonna watch it some more. Lelia, you're gonna watch it with me. Comfort movie, yeah. You don't like Coraline? She's a wuss. Alright guys, that was I said 7, but it's actually 8 books for spooky season. I hope you have a wonderful Halloween. What are you trick-or-treating as? Wait. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you've read these books or if you recommend more. I don't know, I'm done. Have a wonderful day. Lelia, got anything else to say?
Stay in school, make good choices, don't do drugs.
I love that. She's for the kids. Bye, team.